some bonus apps, if you will. All right, so was anybody here for the reputation class this morning? A few people? So that, for me, that kind of stuff is basically, you have to address it and set it up and implement it, put it into your business model moving forward, but it isn't something that like daily you're gonna do, right? I mean, mobile, you're gonna do daily. So I wanted to give you guys first some, reasons why. I know John did a class on mobile. There may be some overlap on some of the theories behind why all this is important, but I'm actually gonna get into the actual apps that I think any real estate agent should be using. And that's the key word, I think, is using, not downloading, because just when you download it, it doesn't do much for you. You have to kind of turn it on and press the buttons, if you will. So really quickly, I always start with a feel for the audience. How many of you guys today brought an iPhone with you? Please raise your hand. All right. How many people have an Android device? How many people have a BlackBerry? And how many people have a Palm? So next year, that BlackBerry answer will get that same Palm response. And I'm not kidding. I'm kidding, but I'm not. But the reason I bring that up at the beginning is we're talking about apps. So BlackBerries are great for email and phone calls. At least they were until the last couple of days. Is anybody dealing with it? I did hear a really funny joke. They said it was really nice of BlackBerry to honor Steve Jobs by going dark for 3 days. So as far as devices, if you're looking, and by the way, the people that raise their hand for the BlackBerry, with your next purchase, are you considering something else? Raise your hand again. So it's usually like almost the same amount of hands. So I always try to advise at the beginning, if you're looking for a new device, hey, the best one out there comes out tomorrow. It comes out tomorrow. It's called the iPhone 4S. It is going to be the best phone ever invented. Apple's ahead of the curve. They got a big start on Google. Google does Android. Apple does iPhone. But the Android platform has caught up, and it's an amazing platform as well. But when we get into apps and we see all this cool stuff, the BlackBerries just don't do a bunch of the stuff that you'll see. That being said, there's a nice slide that are apps for every device, and you guys can all benefit from it. So first slide, the future is in your pants, okay? And what do we mean by that? This is it, right? So a couple of the stats here that I like. Number one, that we're about 18 months away from more people accessing the web on that than on a computer. So we're getting really close. How many of you guys already own an iPad? Anybody? Have you found yourself going to your computer less? So between having an iPhone or an Android and a tablet, this is the post-PC era. The PC as we know it is kind of evolving and going away. Has anybody here ever slept with their phone, be honest? Anybody? Okay. So you probably never slept with your 386 tower, did you? Right? So it's a very intimate device as well, and that's the point. It's in our pockets at all times. People, the stat was 67% of people sleep with their phone within arm's reach. So that's just people just right by the bed. The other one that's interesting, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, local searches. Think to yourself, have you ever pulled out your phone, gone into Google Maps, and put in Starbucks? Drops it down. So more than 50% of the searches on mobile devices are looking for local businesses, okay? So that would include real estate agents, real estate offices, of course, restaurants and everything else that we search for. And then as far as video and mobile, they play really nicely together. 200 million views a day of YouTube videos just on mobile. So that's a pretty big number overall, but that's just people on the phone. Images. One of the reasons I'm so sold on the new iPhone is the camera. I mean, the point and shoot industry is also in a lot of trouble because I'm getting spoiled a little bit, but I don't like taking a picture and having to plug in my camera to get it on my computer and then getting it up onto the internet. I like to take a picture and tweet it right when I take it or Facebook it right when I take it. So keep in mind that like photos, there's apps like Instagram, all these kind of cool apps emerging. Photos are really, really critical, but that doesn't mean that we can send just any photo, okay? So there's certain photos I advise you guys not to send. Good. See, after lunch, it's like, I had the 9 o'clock, I got the morning and the after lunch session, so I don't know who I made mad, but these are usually the toughest. Looking at devices really quickly, the Android device had no market share. This is of like Wi-Fi usage. In 1 year, they're up 10%. iPhone's still up, so they're not taking business from Apple. They're getting it from other devices. But look at the top there when we talk about the post-PC era. 21% of the Mac usage last year. This year, it's down to 13%. 25% of people were on the web on their Windows 7 or their XP. That's down to 16%. So where is that coming from? Where's it going to? Tablets, mobile, Android, iPhone. So that's interesting data. The other thing when, I do make a couple BlackBerry jokes when I present, this is the usage of apps in the last 30 days from whenever the Nielsen company did this. Android, Apple, you have to go past HP, Windows, Windows Mobile to get to RIM. So people don't use their BlackBerry for apps. That's the reason that you don't get a bunch of cool ones. The data doesn't show that BlackBerry users are logging onto their Facebook app all the time the way that iPhone and Android users are. So that's why you're going to see a lot of this data skewed and a lot of the apps skewed towards the more popular platforms. Same thing at the top, the average monthly usage per user. The RIM users aren't using a lot of data. The iPhone and Android people are just consuming data like nuts. One stat I heard recently, it's not even in here yet, the average smartphone user that has an iPhone or an Android works 240 more hours per year than people that don't have that device. And it's because they're just able to do so much. It's not a phone, it's a computer. That's really where we're at. Google, Apple, their background is obviously software and computers, not mobile devices. The other thing with Android, I do want to point this out. There are more than 500,000 Android devices being turned on daily. So it's growing, big time. So if you're looking at apps for yourself or your business, you don't want to miss out on a segment that's growing that quickly. So can't ignore Android. Little tip here on email. The bottom line here, this starts in May of '09 and it goes up until May of this year. That is how often people are checking their email on their mobile device. And then if you look at the top, that's people checking it on the desktop. So things like Outlook are dying. Things like Apple Mail, these desktop email clients, they're just going away. How many of you guys check your email more on your phone than on your computer? Anybody? So there we go. That being said, how many of you have spent time making sure your emails are mobile optimized? Couple people? This is a big takeaway for me. Look at the top email in my inbox from my iPhone. It's from Marketing Profs Today. It's a good website. They send out great info. Having trouble viewing this email? View it in your browser. July 8, 2011, Volume 10, number 133, slideshow. How to improve ... So when you're looking at that on your phone and you don't really see what the email's about, you're just seeing that nonsense at the top, what would you probably do to that email? So if your emails look like that, fix it today. Fix it right away. There's settings in your email programs that when you send, you don't have to put that message at the top of your email. Your subject lines and your first sentence are more important than ever because that's what we're looking through when we're on our devices. We're not looking at the whole body. The other thing would be, if everybody here is checking all their email in their phone, I'm sure you get some emails that have links in them that you click. Well, the problem is, that means also every link that I send people has to be optimized for mobile. Because if they're all opening them on their phone and they're clicking a link to my blog and my blog opens and it's jumbled up because I don't have some kind of mobile tool built in, now nobody's reading my message properly. So these are big changes, you guys. Mobile's not just this kind of fad like a QR code or some of these other kind of niche things. The other thing, iPad. There's no other market besides the iPad for tablets right now. If you own an Android tablet, I'm sorry. They have a huge, huge lead. I mean, it is unsurmountable at this point. They'll catch up maybe in 2 to 3 years. But remember, it's all about the apps, and they're just way ahead. So this is the average kind of usage of an iPad or iPhone, or excuse me, iPod, iPhone, or Android. Look at the usage of an iPad as far as Wi-Fi and data. So my number one concern would be, what does my site look like on the iPad? Do the buttons work? If somebody goes to click and search the MLS, does my website break right then? Because a lot of times, if you're using like these frames or using this kind of older technology, it's just not ready quite yet. So that's just a little bit of a kind of an overview. And I want to get into the apps specifically. Any questions on devices while I switch over? Yes, ma'am? Yep.
Are they like have apps to it or they're selling less?
Yeah, it's certainly a better price point. I wouldn't consider it really, I just don't know that it's going to be a competitor for the iPad. I mean, for me personally, I do like kind of the e-readers. I mean, I think they're kind of cool. But I have a Kindle on my iPad. It's an app. Well, it's you know, the Kindle Fire she brought up, it's $199. It does allow you to get online, but there's not a bunch of apps for it. I mean, there's not one thing I'll show today that you would be able to do on there, unfortunately. So there's a big lead here. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, Steve Jobs? Yes, yeah, they have a great legacy. Yes, ma'am.
What about the Samsung Galaxy Tab?
Yeah, that's an Android tablet. So here's the one big advantage. This is something I always like to bring up if I have a quick minute to discuss it. Apple makes the hardware and the software. Google doesn't. So when you only make the software, and then Samsung and HTC and Motorola and all these other people make the hardware for you, there's obviously going to be some disconnect because you're not building the whole device yourself. The software from Google goes out to all the developers. They got to figure out how the heck to get it in their tablet specifically. Again, 1 to 2 years from now, I think the Google Android tablet will be just as relevant as the iPad. For the next 1 year, iPad 2 is the only device I would really recommend picking up. What's that? Yeah, when you look at a spec sheet, they're identical. When you look at the usage in the apps, you'll see some of the stuff I'm about to show. You just be a little disappointed. But everything I'll show that's super cool, it'll be on that again 6 to 12 months from today. So really quickly, here's the iPad, of course. I'm going to start off with an app called LocalMind. LocalMind. You can get to this on your computer. You can go to localmind.com, or you can get to this on your iPad. That's the two places it's available. Those of you that were, looks like I'm still stuck in Virginia from earlier this week. So this is going to piggyback on the success of a platform called Foursquare. Anybody here know about Foursquare? Okay, so a lot of people would think that would be kind of a foolish technology. Why would you check in? Why would I want people to know where I'm at all the time? Does anybody think that way a little bit? Did anybody used to think, why would I want a cell phone? Why would I want people to be able to get in touch with me at any time? Did anybody used to think college kids were the only ones that were going to ever use Facebook? Okay, so these are things that we have to get mindset wrapped around. The world changed about 3 years ago. Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all these things. So LocalMind's really neat. What it does is it's going to pinpoint people, and these are businesses. So the first kind of takeaway practical item, make sure your business is in LocalMind. You can do that through their website. You're going to see these little flags, and been having intermittent internet issues throughout the day here, so we'll see how it goes. But these are people that are either a business or it's going to be somebody that's actually checked in somewhere right now. So if I were to click on the little arrow, this person, which is me, I must be checked in, these are people that I don't know. So for example, this person's at the library. And these are people that checked in on Foursquare. I don't know them, but I can right there ask a question, and without having their name or email or contact information, we're now communicating. It's real-time communication. So the first thing that happened on the web is they had to layer in all the data, the grid and the addresses and the streets and the businesses and all that. Well, now we're layering people on top of that. So this is kind of Web 3.0. So I could actually ask that person a question. Are there any cool places to live near the college? Anything you can imagine here. It's really cool technology. I use this. Here's the best practical example for me. I was on a plane about to land in San Francisco. I didn't know if I should take a cab or the public transit. Somebody was checked in. I said, which one's better? They gave me great feedback instantly. I probably saved 38 bucks. So somebody's at a restaurant. How busy is it? Somebody's at an open house. How nice is it? You guys see how that works? So real-time communication with people that you don't know. LocalMind. Number 2, Flipboard. Flipboard is called a reader. It's like a magazine. Yes, ma'am. The first one? LocalMind. Let me give you guys a deal right now. I'll give you guys all a great deal. This whole presentation I have, I'd love to give it all to you. If you miss an app or, I don't have the PowerPoint up, so you might not know which ones I'm covering. If you go to facebook.com/Inman Next, INMAN, N-E-X-T, so Inman, next. If you guys will go there and just write on our wall, hey, I'd love to get those slides. That's all I need from you. So that's all we have for that. Flipboard, boom. This is going to be a magazine, but instead of me reading the news from maybe just CNN or just one of the big media companies, this is kind of the concept of like the social part of social media. Matthew Shadbolt, he's the director of interactive marketing for the Corcoran Group in Manhattan. Super sharp guy. Michael McClure, good friend of mine. These are people that online, when they share things, they share great stuff. I know that. So instead of having a magazine full of articles from a newspaper, I can actually have a magazine full of articles from these gentlemen. I'm going to try to switch to the Wi-Fi. Is anybody on the Wi-Fi right now? Is it okay? Is it working? Okay. Hopefully it'll connect. If not, we'll go back to it. So bottom line, it's a reader. It looks so much cooler when it works, I promise. But the concept here is that people are going to be consuming content in these crazy apps. Here's another one that I love called Zite, Z-I-T-E. Think of Zite as kind of like the Pandora of magazines. So when you listen to Pandora, the music station, you tell it if you like the song it played or not. And then if you didn't like it, it never plays it again. Well, if I read an article that you wrote that I don't like and I hit no, don't show me this again, you're out of my world forever. But what if you're providing good stuff, right? I like that, I like that. This person puts out good stuff. So Zite, super, super cool, check it out. Again, having awful trouble here loading, but you guys get the point. It's called a reader. Flipboard and Zite, you can go to the internet to learn about those, but to actually download the app, you're gonna have to do. I know Kevin Leatherman, he should let me tether with his iPhone. Where's he at? I saw it there. Yeah, I kind of want to do like a Steve Jobs and say, can everybody please log off the Wi-Fi right now? He did that at a conference one time. So that's Zite, Z-I-T-E. I showed you guys this morning, those of you that were here, I did that little thing on Prezi. Does anybody remember that? P-R-E-Z-I, little cinematic deal. That's also an app. So if you did build that Prezi and you did a listing presentation in there, you could take that and you could actually display that in somebody's living room right on your tablet. One stat on kind of technology and tablets in regards to listing appointments. Is anybody here doing their listing appointments right now on their iPad? Anybody? How's it going? Pretty cool? They like it? They like to touch it, don't they? Yeah. I have a slide that says, I touched an iPad and I liked it. So Prezi, which hopefully will load, 3G's just not really happening in here. Prezi, I showed you guys that earlier today. Same concept. You can now display it on your iPad, which is great. Realtor.com, has anybody ever played with this app? A couple people? To me, this is, Zillow's got a great app. Trulia's got a great app. I like the UI, the user interface of this one a little bit more than the other two. There's a really cool feature here where you can draw on the screen, which is really, really neat. You can basically say, I have like this one picky buyer, right? Which maybe they're all picky, but imagine, if you will, there's only one that's picky. And it'll allow you to take Long Island. Let's say they just want to live right on the water. You can just draw your finger on the water, and then it drops the listings. It's really powerful when you can see it on the screen. So I don't know if anyone can help me with the Wi-Fi issue of any of the AV guys. I'm just not able to get on the Wi-Fi. So I don't know if that's an issue for just me. It's trying to get on there. It's just kind of not. Yeah. It's just not loading. Yeah, 20% battery. That's not affecting the Wi-Fi. Thank you, though. Yeah, it's okay. And I can go back to the, yeah, it's okay. Here, I'll just pull them up. It's good stuff anyway. So another one that I love is called Open Home Pro. This is one built just for real estate agents. So obviously Realtor.com is for real estate agents. Open Home Pro, really cool app. The way this works and kind of the problem that it solves, all my favorite technologies solve problems for people. They make their lives easier. So imagine going to your open house and you put out the sign-in sheet and getting a fake email. Is anybody relating right now? Okay? So that's just how it goes, basically. Let me see if I can get in here. I'm very persistent. What this will do is this will replace that sign-in sheet. So people can come in and you give them the iPad. And again, they like that, right? So when you log in, you put your listing in here that you're at. The neighbors come in, the buyers come in. They put their name, phone number, email, bedroom, bathroom, price reduction, are you on Facebook, all these things you might want to get on a sheet. They actually type it right in. So see, I have this listing here, and I could start an open house for this listing. This app doesn't take a whole lot of data, so maybe it'll actually work for us. A couple of the cool things, the agents that are using this are getting 100% conversion. So if 10 people come in, they get 10 for 10 as far as email, name, phone number. There's a setting that we're hoping to add where if they put a phony number, it just buzzers and it like starts like, blaring. So yeah, so you put it in, there's your name. You can set these questions however you want them. How many bedrooms? Do you want to know if the price changes? No, I don't have a home to sell. Yes, I'm on Facebook. No, I don't use Twitter. So you could use all these, but this is the one we're hoping that like if it's a fake number, it just sets an alarm off. So that's neat. And then the other one, and this is my favorite screen once you get past all this. Thank you for signing in. Please hand the iPad back to the realtor. So it's not giving them the iPad to keep, but can you imagine that like just the difference between typing it in there and writing it? There's just that little bit more incentive to put in the right information. Yes, ma'am.
The open house pro, is that linked to MLS? How would people know to go there?
They're going to walk in the door of your open house and you're going to hand it to them.
Oh, I'm saying that's how we give it to them.
Yeah.
How do they know to log in to get the open houses from that website instead of MLS and like that?
Yeah, that'd probably be a whole nother class, unfortunately. So finding open houses and getting exposure for your open houses, that's not what we're covering with this app. This app is when people come there, you want to get their name and phone number and email, and you want it to be accurate. Exactly. It's just a whole different value proposition when they type in the iPad. Yep, really cool stuff. So that's Open Home Pro, and I wanted to show you guys, let's see. One last one on actually two last ones. Hopefully this one will load. House. This one's amazing technology. Everything I'm mentioning, again, you can go to the internet and learn about. You just can't get all these apps unless you have an iPad for now. Houzz. Anybody heard of this? Houzz. This to me is one of the coolest technologies. Here's, again, the problem that it solves. Most people that are looking to either buy or sell are a lot of times also looking to do some renovations. So either fixing it up to sell it or buying it and then fixing it up. And also a lot of you guys earlier this morning said that you get the bulk of your business from your past clients. So this is a community that I'd like you guys to introduce them to, that you don't have to worry about them finding a bunch of realtors in here. These are designers, architects, photographers, and it's really, really cool. Check this out. It's bringing in photos, which people love. So I can actually go in. Let's see if they have New York City. I'm sure they will. There we go. Going to New York. Now, here's what's cool. I can see kids' rooms, and I can see them in the style that I want. And it's going to kind of populate these images. That'll probably be the data piece that I'm not going to get a lot of luck with. It's going to kind of put them into a mosaic here. And it's really pretty. Usually loads in 1 second. You can flip through. But it's got pictures of rooms from kids that are modern in New York. So now all of a sudden people can kind of check that out. The coolest part of this, a feature they added about a week ago, see this little price tag? So how do they make money? Anything people see in these rooms that is for sale on the internet, when you hit that price tag, you're going to see a little green price tag. And it'll actually hang from the items in that picture that are purchasable on like IKEA or any of these sites. Really cool technology. Again, a little bit of an issue with the load time there, but you get the point. You can flip through all the different sites. Houzz. Super cool, houzz.com. I think I have one more. Let's see. Don't want to miss any. I got them all. Cool. The other one that I'm not going to show is for video editing. If any of you guys are interested in kind of adding video to your business, the hardest part of that, in my opinion, is editing it and making it look professional. It's not that hard to get the footage, but then it's hard to like say, I want my brand next to this on YouTube. It's like all shaky and stuff. So iMovie, has anybody ever heard of iMovie? So you have iMovie, and then on the other devices on Android, you have one called Reel Director, R-E-E-L. And a lot of these phones have 720p. The new iPhone has 1080p high def video. So with things like iMovie, you can not only shoot it on the mobile, you can edit it on the mobile, and you can get it onto YouTube on the mobile. And the reason people love tablets so much, they're just easy to use. So if you were to try to sit down at my MacBook and edit a video in iMovie, it's like 800 times harder than if you would just get it on your iPad and just do it on there. It's much more kind of click, click, save, very easy to use. So that's iMovie, that's the logo there. So I covered all of those, good stuff. Who that doesn't have an iPad wants one right now? All right, check under your seat. Everybody check under their seat. Yeah. Well, let me take the time to say this. We are going to give away an Apple TV today. We're giving that away at the Inman booth, which I'm working the booth as well, so it's obviously empty right now. But I'm gonna, as soon as I'm done with this, go to the booth and draw for the Apple TV. And you have to be present to win. So just, if you wanna come over there, we'll draw it. You guys can get to the next session. A couple apps that are great, in my opinion, for any device, okay? So these are the ones that it doesn't matter what phone you have. Is anybody here that was thinking about changing from BlackBerry now definitely changing tomorrow? Yeah. Okay. Funny story, at our conference in New York, we were giving away tickets to Paris, and we had given it away to like, who's had their license the longest, you know, and we gave one. Who's had it the least? And we're running out of questions, so our CEO said, Chris, what should the last one be? I said, anybody willing to give their phone away right now, we'll give them a ticket. And from about the 15th row, a BlackBerry came flying on the stage. Boom, you know. Couldn't have been more fun. So one other thing about the keyboard on BlackBerry, because that's the one thing that some people just say, I gotta have it. There are Android options with physical keyboards. So if that's your one drawback, there's certainly some great options. But even the new BlackBerries are going into touchscreen kind of stuff. So, all right, apps for any device. Zillow, Realtor.com, and Trulia are not on the BlackBerry yet, okay? Zillow is the only app that you can get on the BlackBerry that would have a ton of real estate information. I heard their CEO talking about it, and he made a really good point because probably 30% of the room right now has a BlackBerry. So you'd be crazy not to want to reach that market share. And not to mention, they are usually people that are very business professional people, so I get that. So you don't want to not reach BlackBerry users. His analogy was, what if your website didn't work on Firefox? You'd probably not be okay with that. So they've built an app. If you're on the BlackBerry, make sure you check it out, but it's also on every device. The second one here is for Google Analytics, okay? Google Analytics. How many people here know what I'm talking about? How many people don't? Okay, go to Google and type in Analytics and add that to your business immediately, okay? It basically tracks the behavior of the people that visit your website. How many people are coming? What are they looking at? How long are they there? What are the keywords they're using? What devices are they using to find me? So right now on our site, Inman, we're a little ahead of the curve. You know, we write about tech and we're pretty savvy. We're at like 25 to 30% of our traffic on mobile. So if our site didn't work on mobile, we'd be in a lot of trouble. If it didn't look okay on the iPad, people would bounce out of there. So Google Analytics is, go to your app store, just put in Google Analytics. The one I use is called Quicklytics. There's another one called like Analytics HD. All the data that you get from Google about your site, and it's really powerful, you can check that on your mobile. So you guys always tell me I'm too busy, I don't have time for all this. Me neither. I fly all over, but I have to look at my website every day and see how it's doing. So it's just easier to go into my phone than to go into my computer to do that. Carbonite. How many people have heard of Carbonite? Anybody? Has anybody heard of Mosey? So these are online backup services. I used Mosey for a while. I'm now using Carbonite. I'm sold on Carbonite. Has anybody here ever lost a file on their computer or had like a hard drive crash? So usually when that happens, the next day you sign up for Carbonite. So, yeah, that too. Thank you. She said the next day she switched to a Mac, but I think I've done plenty of work for Apple so far. So Carbonite is going to back up your computer. Like the first time you do it, it takes it, 24 hours. From then on, every night while you're sleeping, it's going to create a backup of everything. But the cool thing with mobile and iPads and BlackBerries and everything is now all the files on my computer are also in my mobile anytime I need them. It's using the cloud. So I don't want to use all 16 gigabits of my iPhone on all my files on my computer. They wouldn't fit. So when you need it, it pulls it out of the cloud. If you don't need it, it's just waiting there for you need it. You can get the document, email it, send it, edit it, all the things you could do on a computer. Carbonite.
What application do you use in that?
Carbonite, yep. Yeah. Say it again. What do you mean service? Uh-huh. Yeah, it's backing up your computer. Yeah, but most people here don't have a server. Trust me. Most people here don't have their own server. Only geeks like us. Nobody has their own server. People have their own computer. So you want every file on your computer backed up at all times. That does it, and it gets it to you on the mobile. I think it's $45 a year, okay? So it's not real expensive. Yes, ma'am?
Will that also work on your PC?
Yeah, so you would actually put it on your PC, and then you would be able to get to it from any phone. Yep, and everything on your PC. The next one there with the elephant, I love this one. Anybody here using Evernote? You guys love it? Okay, so Evernote is this technology that to me is like blocking and tackling in football. It's just a very core kind of a business tool. It does the same thing we're talking about here. So you might have a PC and an iPhone and an Android tablet. Well, sometimes it's hard to get them to sync up. You know, like the old Palm, you had to plug it in and sync it up. Evernote, you can take all your notes and all your business communications there, and then it automatically syncs them across every device that you have, regardless of platform, okay? So like if I were sitting in your seat right now, I would take every note on my iPad in Evernote, and then when I went home tonight to look back at my notes, I would just grab my computer and they'd all be there. Pretty cool? You can do it for, there's almost nothing Evernote doesn't do. There's a lot of advanced features, but at the core, it's syncing and it's allowing all these things to communicate. They call it like your virtual brain. I mean, you guys will love this thing. You know, sometimes you're on our site, you like the article, you want to read it later. It does that. All kinds of cool stuff. This next one is called Report It App. Report It App, and you can go to reportitapp.com. There's a group of gentlemen in the industry. They own the company 1000 Watt Consulting. These are really, really, really smart guys. And so what they've done is they've built this new app. It's a web app, so that's why it does work on any device. And you can create kind of infographic-esque charts and data sets. So when you get asked, how's the market? You need an answer to that looks cool. That's why they built this. Is the market hot? Is it cold? Days on the market? And it creates these beautiful things. So that's in beta. It's free. Go to that site and just sign yourself up for the beta. Mobile Card Cash, John was up here. Was anybody at John's session? The mobile Card Cash session? So what I love about what their technology does, and I don't work for them, and I'm not getting paid to say this, but it makes your website work on every mobile device. All, 4 billion of them, not just the iPad and the iPhone. The other thing it does is like if you're on Twitter, or if you're on Facebook, or you're sending out emails, remember, a lot of the people receiving that are on their phone. So if I click and it goes to your site and your site's not mobile optimized, you're basically losing me. Like, how patient are you when a site on your phone doesn't load? How patient are you? So the most common button on the internet's the back button. People just get somewhere and it doesn't load, boom, they get out of there. So Mobile Cardcast, the ability to perfectly optimize your site with MLS search, all these other cool things, at the price point that they do it, to me it's a no-brainer. One of the reasons, if I have your app or if I have your website on my phone and it does everything I need it to do as a consumer, why would I ever put another real estate agent's app right next to it that was the same? So everybody in this room can go out and get Mobile Cardcast. But if I already have it on my phone, if I have your app on my phone, and then she says, hey, I got this cool app, I already got it. I got it through Susie, right? I mean, so the first to mobile, I think, is going to pick up a lot of mind share for real estate marketing. The last one here, how am I doing on time, by the way? Am I okay? Does anybody know what time it is? 10 minutes? Okay, cool. Slide dial. So if you know what this is, don't say what it does. It's really probably the coolest one of all of them. So I want everyone in the room to think about somebody that they have to call today that they hope doesn't answer. And everyone that just thought of their significant other, raise your hand. Okay, we've got a couple honest people. So slide dial is this cool technology where basically it doesn't matter if your phone's on, it doesn't matter if your phone has 5 bars and full service, it's gonna redirect the call to your voicemail no matter what you want it to do. So I have to call a client on Friday, I don't want him to pick up, I wanna leave him a message. I can ensure that that happens by using slide dial. Pretty cool? Yeah, that one's like daily usage, yeah. And that works on a BlackBerry, so you know, that one works everywhere. So it's really good for holidays, birthdays, you know, all kinds of stuff. Slide dial. And you know, the funny thing is, like, so I have AT&T. Verizon's sponsoring, yes? Okay, so I'll make fun of AT&T. So I have AT&T. So the good thing is, like, because if you were to slide dial somebody like 3 times, and they just keep getting these voicemails, but their phone's not ringing, they might be like a little bit like, what is this? What is happening? But if you have AT&T, you're used to that happening, okay? There's like no red flags, like, yeah. And I have AT&T, But Verizon, you know, they do have apparently a bigger network. I don't want to get into that. All right. Last couple bonus apps. I don't even know how many I've covered. The one on the left, Calculator. This is one that most people have never heard of. Pretty interesting app. And then the one on the right is called Magic Plan app, okay? The one on the left, Calculator, everybody can have. The one on the right is iPhone only, will be Android as well really soon. So Calculator is this cool website. They have a calculator for anything you can imagine. How much is it going to cost me to send my kid to school if he's 3 years old and I make this much and I put this much in the bank? You know, it does all these crazy calculations. But what I found interesting was, see that big chunk right there? That is their usage. So of all these like thousands of calculators, their mortgage calculator is the one that gets used 10x compared to anything else that they've built. You can see they have auto, IRA, business, pets, all these other things. So what's cool is you can actually go to Calculator, I guess .com. I'm sure if you Google that, they're probably #1. And you can actually build this really cool mortgage app, and then you can actually put that mortgage calculator on your website. So they'll allow you to build it there, take the code, plug it into yours. Even better, on your phone, you can go into it at any time and do the calculations. Standing in line, yeah, we think we can afford $300. What's your credit? Well, you'll probably get this rate. How many months? 30 year. You know, it's just really, really solid technology for mortgage calculation. The Magic Plan app, this one is a little, this one's like beyond innovative. So how many of you guys right now do a floor plan for every property that you list? And the people that do it, they'll never stop doing it because they know people love it. The sellers love that you do it. Can you imagine that every person wants to see a floor plan of the home they might buy? What's crazy to me as a renter, like a, you know, kind of a Craigslist renter for the last few years, every rental I've ever rented, I can see floor plans of. But none of the homes for sale on Realtor.com or Truly or any of these places give me a floor plan. Part of it is because it's expensive. Part of it is because that's not just a public record you can go get at the library. So this is so cool, you guys. You're going to go into the rooms of the listing, and you point the app in the corner, and it puts the lasers in the corner so you can see exactly where it's at. And you take a picture, and you do that for all 4 corners, and you designate where the doorway's at. And because these have such great GPS, it automatically knows the widths of the room, right? Pretty crazy. So you can go to every room. You can get really fancy or really basic with it. It's like $7 one time, and that would allow you to take those floor plans out of the app and put them on your website right next to your listings, okay? $7 one time. There's also a free version. You can just play with it and see what you think. Yes, ma'am? No, ma'am. Yeah. No, I didn't even make a joke that time. No, unfortunately it's not. And the reason why, there's a thing in here called like gyroscope. It's like super geeky, but you know how like if you turn it, the car turns on the game? Well, you need that to do stuff like this, and the BlackBerry doesn't have like that gyroscope yet. Yes, ma'am? It is on the iPad. It just looks a little weird holding it up like that, but yeah, you could technically do it. Every app that's on the iPhone is on the iPad. You just have to blow up some of them. This is called Magic Plan app. Magic Plan app. Yes, sir?
Both inside and outside corners and closets.
It'll do everything, yeah. It does what you tell it to do. So you're going to point it where you want it to point it. And then at the end, you would say that was the kitchen, and it'll archive it. And then at the next one, bedroom 1, bedroom 2, it's archiving all this data, and then it mashes it up. It knows where you were standing. So it knows the kitchen's here and the bedroom's here. I mean, unbelievable. Yes, sir. It will be very soon. Yeah, not quite yet. You guys like that, right? That's a cool one. Yeah, I have stock in every app that I'm showing now. I don't even have Apple stock for some reason. I certainly should. All right, so I'm going to have one, just so you guys know, I have one more app, and then I want to show you guys one of the cool things we're doing at Inman. And then I'll be at the booth. So if you guys want to come by and say hi and ask more questions. Actually, 2 more apps. Text messaging is going away. Not that it isn't being used more than ever, but paying for it is a thing of the past. There's no reason you should be paying for text messages anymore. This service is the one that works on every device, KIK. Get rid of your $20 a month with AT&T. Get rid of your upgrade on your text messaging. You can use your number, send and receive from your number. How do you think they allow that for free? What do you think they do? They put a little banner at the bottom of your text message inbox. I'm totally fine with that. I have no problem with that. If you want to upgrade, you can get rid of the banner, no problem. But Kik, K-I-K, and then actually the iPhone tomorrow, they have a new thing called iMessage. Any text message you send to another iPhone automatically doesn't count as a text message because they're just using the web connection and not the... Yeah, free. Well, mine's $20 a month with AT&T for unlimited text. So, yeah, is Kik? Yeah, Kik is on every device, BlackBerry, everything. So check this one out. I want you guys to watch this one. This one's really neat. Let me just finish this last one. This is called Glimpse. So this is kind of a look into the future of where this stuff's heading. You can give someone a glimpse of where you're at, and then all of a sudden they get this map. So that's Jeremy driving 46 miles an hour, and he's going to be at his granddad's nursing home in 1 minute. So, okay, this is scary for a lot of people. So it tracks where they're going, how fast they're going, how long they are. Yes, so really quickly, when they were going to put this out, they were going to call it Spouse instead of Glimpse. So yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's all permission-based. I mean, I know it's scary, but you have to say, yes, I want to let this person see where I'm at. The reason they call it Glimpse is you're giving them a glimpse into what you're doing and where you're at a certain moment in time. So I'm going to meet my client at Starbucks at 1. They're going to have a glimpse of where I'm at until 1:30, and then it goes away. So they don't follow you the rest of the night or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh. No. That's what's great. Yeah, it would go to their regular text message box. And if they reply from there, no, you don't pay at all. Yeah, it's really cool. Yes, ma'am. So Google Latitudes, this isn't, I mean, Google Latitudes is a little bit different. I'm not that familiar with it. I don't think anybody in here should even use this. I did it totally just to get people to see what's coming down the pipeline. It is on every device. Play with it. With this, kind of your clients have to get a link from you, and then they download Glimpse, and now you're both using it. But it's just kind of, man, you know, all the things I already showed kind of coming together in this one cool app, which I thought was neat. So that's a little bit about Glimpse. Let me cover one thing really quickly so that I don't lose my job. I want you guys to check this site out if you have a little bit of time. Is everybody, who here has never heard of Inman News until right now? Be honest. How many of you guys have heard of Inman News? A bunch of people? Cool, that's great. So we're known here, which is cool. I took over recently as chief evangelist for Inman News. I also do their events. We have an event coming up in New York City. It's called Real Estate Connect. If you thought this was cool, imagine 3 full days of it at the beginning of the year to get your business ready for the rest of the year. It's called Real Estate Connect. We're offering the best pricing that we've ever given at the booth. Obviously for you guys, you don't have to fly here and get a hotel. You just come into the city each day. July 11th through the 13th. Thank you. January 11th through the 13th. Companies like Foursquare and Google and Facebook come to our conference, and they speak about what they think our industry is going to look like and how they would run their business if they were a broker or an agent. So it's really cool. I wanted to show you guys one last thing here with Inman, and then I'll hop off. So Inman News puts out probably 4 or 5 articles a day, every day. And a lot of it is basically built for you guys to read. So it's an article that no one would care about except a real estate agent. But we've also built a lot of consumer content, okay? So that would be content that's meant to be seen by your sellers, by your buyers, by your investors, and all your people. So who here right now blogs at least 3 times a week or more? Okay. People are on Facebook and Twitter every day. So that to engage and to kind of leverage social properly, you really do need to be putting out great content, even if it's not content that maybe you wrote yourself. So, yep, you're allowed to now use our articles in your marketing. We just released this about a week ago. The way it works, I'll just give you guys a quick demo, super quick. Yes, it's having the same issue as the other app that we talked about earlier. It's in the Apple Store. I got to show this really quickly, but just so you guys see how it works, I'll do it as simple as I can. It works on every device, but it's just really neat. So the articles that you're seeing on the front side of our site here, you can actually go to the back side of our site and you can pull them out, and then it puts it in a newsletter branded to you, or a tweet that you tweet, or a Facebook update that you update. So if you guys want to learn more about that, you know what, we can just do it at the booth. Real Estate Connect in New York, I have all the information on that at the booth. If you guys want to play with my iPad and ask questions about the apps, and then also remember we're giving away the Apple TV. So thank you guys so much. Anybody learn anything? Yeah? Cool. Thank you guys.